Yo,
What up?
man, just enjoying my Aloha Friday as of right now, as we say in Hawaii.
Yeah, I'm jealous. It sounds great. I mean, it's a good day no matter where you are. I mean, what a week.
Dude, you're telling me. I mean, we had, our last podcast was last Friday. The price was at what, 77,000.
Yeah.
And right now we're at sitting at 89,000. But we hit an all-time high at 93,476,000. But I feel nothing.
I'm the same way, and I was thinking about that because so many people are doing the price predictions. It sort of desensitizes you to where we are. Like I can't really figure out if this is high or low, but I will tell you on when did we hit it? On Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, when we went to
Yeah.
93, whatever
Yeah.
it was, that day I was like on euphoria overload and I had to put down my phone because I couldn't step away. Like I had things to do with work and I'm trying to concentrate, but just completely overwhelmed by what was happening.
Yeah, dude, I experienced the same thing. I think that we're all kind of going through this dopamine overload, right? We're just getting it's like a steady stream of dopamine as you see the price just rally up like that. And well, I mean, I have some thoughts on that. We can talk about it later on in the podcast. But yeah, I mean, it is very real. I mean, I had a hard time focusing on anything else but the price, and I just felt like a crack fiend.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was literally the next day, like putting my phone away from me so that I didn't have the temptation to go and get it. You know, like I
Yeah.
needed to separate, all of what was going on from what I needed to do. I mean, it's a good thing. It's great. Finally, we feel vindicated. And, when you see the price dip and then rip back up, it just cements what you already believe, at least for me. Um,
Yes.
with all of the months of just kind of trading sideways, this has been really, really fun to be paying attention and be on the right side of it this time. Not wishing I had more Bitcoin, feeling like, I did what I could.
Hey, I don't know about you, but I did everything that I could to get as much Bitcoin as I possibly could, to the point where it was irresponsible. I'll say that. And I don't recommend that everyone do that, but I mean, I put everything behind it that I could where I'm like, oh shit, this is it. And
Yeah.
that's just me. That's just me though.
No, I think you're right. I mean, there's always more I could have done. Like I could have made my life more difficult. I could have made more difficult on my wife or my kids, but I did everything that I possibly could do at the times when I had the funds available to do it, you
For sure.
know?
Yeah.
And when I was going crazy, Bitcoin was at 55, 40. Like I purchased at very high levels as much as I possibly could. And then when we did see dips, I did what I was able to do, but I might not have had as much, cash available at those times. So yeah, I look back and just, I think I did maybe 90% of what I could have. I could have made my life more painful. Uh,
But listen, brother, when you got the kids and you got the family, you've got, bigger responsibilities. Of course, everything that you do now in terms of the allocation to Bitcoin is for that future, but you would never want to put yourself in a situation that they could experience some of the pain. I mean, it's one thing if it's like your own personal, strife, but everyone's in different situations, I would say. I'm not the kind of guy that would go into debt
right.
to buy more Bitcoin. I know there's people out there that did that, and I don't know. I think probably some of them likely got burned, but I'm sure it worked out for other people as well. But in my mind, that's sort of like that same mentality of like, I'm going to trade shit coins so that eventually I can get more Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I think it's more pragmatic to think of it as a savings technology and say everything that I would put toward my savings or investments, I'm putting that toward Bitcoin. But I'm not, and yeah, maybe selling some things or whatever, but I'm not going and taking out loans to get more Bitcoin.
I agree.
I'm not, I'm not um you know, I guess I'm pretty retarded, right? So I don't have the financial acumen to be, I'm gonna like use these debt instruments to, whatever. That's not me. Maybe some people are in that position, but hey, we've all got to.
I, Yeah, I think that's good. And I think when you get down to it, we're still so far ahead. If you said you stacked as much as you possibly could. I think I've done a pretty damn good job as
Yeah.
much as we possibly could. We're splitting hairs here, right?
Yep.
Because we're still 3% of less of all people that have Bitcoin conviction, and it's probably even smaller than that when you're looking at the whole world. So we're really talking about minor differences, and the other thing that I, have done recently is um, I don't have a financial planner anymore, and working as an in-house guy for years, building up, I probably had seven 401ks that I dumped on his lap in 2020. All that trapped money is now all in IRA, one in IRAs and whatever you call it. I guess that's what it is, a Roth. And that's Bitcoin and a little bit of MicroStrategy. And that's it. I mean, I'm 100% all in on the outcome of Bitcoin, no matter where you look at it, between cold storage, other savings. And yeah, I'm writing this thing down to zero or 10 million.
And it's never going to zero because we're all going to buy on the way down. I think that that's what people don't understand. Like, oh, it's going to zero. It's like, no, it's not because we're buying it.
Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, we're not gonna. I mean, I go out on a limb saying this. I don't think we're gonna see the 60s or the 50s in terms of prices. I think maybe we could wick down there here and there, but the picture has totally changed in the last 2 weeks. We are
Mm.
living on a completely different timeline, in my opinion.
Yes, let's talk about that, right? We can get into some news here, but there's, I think, a couple news items that, sort of support that we're in this new era of adoption, which we would call nation state adoption, right? State adoption. Like and I think that's why. I mean, we've never had a friendly regulatory environment. We haven't, and screw it, like we don't need that, but it sure makes things a lot easier. But you might have seen the news earlier in the week that there's a Pennsylvania bill, my home state, proposing a 10% Bitcoin investment for the state treasury. And it's just a bill. It's not like they're, committed to anything. But it's like, I mean, it's pretty incredible that we even have this movement where it's being talked about, right? There's bills being proposed. Additionally, Trump has tapped pro Bitcoin Matt Gaetz for attorney general. I mean, come on, dude. We've got a pro Bitcoin guy, JD Vance owns Bitcoin, Trump. It's pretty incredible that that's even a reality right now. So I don't
Yeah,
see it. I don't see anything. I mean, you're going to have volatility, of course. Like this is a nascent technology, but I sort of it feels like we've entered into completely new territory.
yeah, I think we have. You know, um, People talking about the strategic Bitcoin reserve.
Yeah.
Cynthia Lummis saying today, kind of retweeting what Michael Saylor said about, $16 trillion of debt can be offset according to his model.
Hmm.
I think that the dips that we've seen in the past couple days, they last hours, if that, and I know we're talking, that's only a tiny little slice, but I think that we're starting to get the attention of the broader market. And the 13F filings came out today. Lots of companies are talking about how they have Bitcoin on the balance sheet. It's the buyers have now shown up. It's mainstream, and that isn't going away. We aren't going to have the 80% drawdowns, in my opinion, or even the 50%. I think if we were to see a big drawdown, like you said, someone's going to be there to buy it. If it goes to a certain level, way too many buyers have now entered the market. And, some would love to buy at any price, some would love to buy a little bit lower.
And I'll tell you what, people love the coin so much that they're even starting to rob Bitcoin ATMs. Have you seen that?
I did. I was wondering, are they they're not going to get the, there's no Bitcoin inside. Are they
No,
buying for the machinery, for the hardware, is there copper? What is in that machine that makes them want it? Or are they just, is this their own, they're just co-opting someone else's business?
listen, it shows that people love the coin, but they still don't understand how it works, right? Let's take a look. I'm gonna cue it up here. And this is from our friends at Simply Bitcoin.
Whole string of thefts involving what appears to be a pair of criminals disguised as a repair crew.
Their target? Bitcoin machines. Catherine Cook shows us how authorities say they have managed to steal at least three.
Wednesday afternoon at the St. John's Deli and Grocery.
I mean, it was pretty slammed. We had like five people, like in line.
Ashwin Chaitri was working the registers when he noticed this work crew tending to a Bitcoin machine.
I thought it was unusual, but I was just like, maybe, it's been like acting up.
Ashwin's dad owns the store, so he figured he'd set up the call. He says the work crew even phoned ahead to say they were running late. The pair unbolted the machine, put it on a hand truck, and even vacuumed. They also handed Ashwin this invoice for their work.
Wow.
All of it, turns out, part of an
Oh,
elaborate scheme.
And I was like, okay, seem legit. But then the next morning, I come to find out that they actually came to steal the machine from us.
Stealing the
Ashwin says there
Bitcoins.
was about $400 inside. Customers use the machine to buy Bitcoin or send money. The store doesn't own it, but they rent the space to the company that does, Dynamic Exchange Network.
We called the company and we were like, hey, what's going on? Like, why is the device not here? And they're like, what are you talking about? We never sent anybody out.
Security video shows the crooks loading the Bitcoin machine into a silver Dodge Ram. The license plate number starts with 050.
They didn't even
The company that owns those Bitcoin
cover the
machines
license
said last month, crooks hit this Jubit's truck stop on North Vancouver Way. Same MO. Security images show what appears to be the same suspects.
no
A
mask.
man and a woman, same hair, uniforms, and even shoes. You can see the bolts left behind after the crooks got away with this one. A rep with Dynamic Exchange Network tells us they look like the same people who stole a third Bitcoin machine, this one from a service station in Albany. They left this phony invoice with store employees there.
Because I don't want to see this repeating.
Ashwin wants everyone to know about these guys, what they look like, what they're doing, and why they need to stop.
How low can you go to steal from a business that's trying to survive in the world,
In North Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Incredible.
husband and wife team?
What was that?
Is that a husband and wife team? Like,
It
what is
could
going
be.
on?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, if I were that company, or if I were helping that company that does the Bitcoin ATMs, I'd be pitching them to national TV. This is a really funny story, and I'd be like, hey, can you educate people how this works and why they shouldn't be stealing the ATMs? Like, why is, dude, if you're like, or maybe they're just going after the cash, right? That you have to understand that you're not going to steal a machine and get all the Bitcoins inside, right? So, but are they going after, machines with $400 in cash in it? Like, I don't know.
I, I don't think that's it. I think that I think the two obvious choices are they either have no clue that there's no Bitcoin inside, or two, there's got to be something that they're doing with the components because,
Yeah.
the cash, $400 cash, they have a legitimate process. I mean, coming in there and unbolting that stuff, leaving an invoice. I mean, that took some thought and planning.
Wire, for sure.
Hilarious though, hilarious that if it turns out that they, were trying to take the Bitcoin inside.
Yeah, it's interesting too because they can't. I was like, why aren't they wearing masks? Well, that's a dumb question because obviously they're trying to, show themselves as legitimate, so they can't be walking in with masks on. Be like, oh, sign this, and here's the receipt. So it's one or the other. Or maybe they got one of those CIA masks.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I like that conspiracy.
Yeah, all for a good conspiracy theory. Okay, maybe a couple more news items that I got. Just two more. The first of which is that Orange Pill app just released a documentary called "What is a Bitcoiner?" So I haven't watched it. I'm gonna watch it this weekend. Maybe you can watch it as well, and we can talk about it next week. But anyone that's looking for it, just go on Orange Pill app's Twitter or X and find it there.
Yeah, I'm a member. I'm a member of Orange Pill
Same.
app. I did the Forever membership. It's great. There's a couple people in my town that I'm connected with, but I don't think I've seen that documentary yet. What is a Bitcoiner?
Yeah, it's called "What is a Bitcoiner?" And it looks like it's been a long time in the making, but it's also on YouTube. It
Okay.
was released 3 days ago. If you go to Get Based,
Oh yeah.
search for Get Based, then you'll see the documentary there.
Yeah, okay.
23 minutes. Nice little weekend watch.
Okay, good. Well, thanks for the suggestion. I'll check that out.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say is, man, not even Bitcoin related, but do you have any Bitcoin related news you want to talk through?
No, the
Like,
strategic Bitcoin reserve. To me, that's the big news in my head. But we've probably been, probably not much needs to be said there. It's sort of a wait and see moment.
it's going to happen. And I think people know it's going to happen. Other countries know it's going to happen. And that's the price movement. This is not retail, right?
Yeah, this is big countries moving in. We've got 70 something days until that could get signed on the first day. Cynthia Lummis, she has submitted it. It is in the queue.
Yep. Yeah. You have a chance to, I mean, very few have had the opportunity in our lifetime or American supremacy to front run America. So these countries have an opportunity to do that. And I kind of think that's what's happening.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think for any person, it's a little bit, I don't know, scary is not the right word, but appreciating the significance of being able to get something before the world powers do.
Yeah.
I mean, there are countries that are not going to have as much Bitcoin as certain plebs. Not me, but
Crazy. Yeah.
certain plebs, certain individuals that will have more financial power, and I think that's amazing to think about. Sure, there are billionaires, plenty of them, but this is a little bit different.
That's a great point. I mean, the influence that Bitcoiners are going to have in this world moving forward is something that we've never, right, to being able to dictate, from like a freedom, liberty first standpoint,
Right.
Bitcoin ideals because you can donate to certain parties. That's huge.
Yeah. And think about the significance continuing to increase over time. I mean, we're looking at, the next 4 years, but look 40 years down the road from today. And if you have kids and if they have Bitcoin, how significant will that Bitcoin be during their lifetime? I mean,
Yep.
we're talking about something, it's really impossible to kind of just wrap your head around the importance.
Amen, brother. Crazy times.
Yeah. Was that it for the news? Or do you have one
That's
more?
it. I was going to ask about any predictions you have with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, but maybe we save that for the end.
Yeah, let's do that. I do have some thoughts there.
Okay. Let's save it for the end. That'll be a fun way to wrap things up. All right, now is the time that we stack together. You ready to stack?
Yeah, I am. I was telling somebody about this. Like, the point of this is that at the end of the show, we've got more Bitcoin than when we started, and maybe it's not a ton, but if we continue to do this, this could be a significant amount of Bitcoin pulled off the market just from this podcast. At least $100.
At least. I mean, we're going to move markets, baby.
All right, so I'm gonna use strike.
Okay, I'm going to use River. All
Okay.
right. What are we doing today? 10?
Um, I
Huh?
mean, I don't know.
15?
15?
All
All
right.
right,
15 is.
15 bucks. All
I just
right.
got to make sure I don't accidentally buy 15 Bitcoin.
Your account has been denied.
Oh my
All
gosh.
right, 15. I'm queued up.
What's your fee?
12 cents.
Mine's 15 cents. What is your spread? What's the price right now you're looking at?
Let's see, $89,616.96.
Hey, mine is 89,744 and 36 cents. Okay.
All right, that's good to know. I won't say anything, but that's good to know.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
I'm buying mine.
Okay. I bought.
So
Done.
it's thinking, there it goes. Let it rain.
Let's go, baby. So now,
All
ladies and
right.
terms, if you bought with us, you stacked with us, you now have more Bitcoin than you did, and we did our job. So
Yeah,
you,
that's good. That's good. I like that. I feel like participating in this is good. Collective sat stacking.
I feel like a new man. Every time after we stack, I just feel like I don't know, I could run like a 5K right now.
It does feel good. One thing I want to do is, once my stack here that I've been buying in Strike gets to a certain point, I'm gonna figure out how to, I'm gonna send it to one of my cold storage devices and try to consolidate it.
There we go.
Make sure those UTXOs are, enough Bitcoin that can fit into one of those.
That is a good point, right? If you're out there and you're buying small stacks like we are right now, at some point you're going to want to consolidate those UTXOs in a low fee time because and maybe in the not so distant future we're going to have a very high fee environment, and it could be very prohibitive to even utilize the small amounts of Bitcoin that you bought unless you consolidate your UTXOs. So always practice good UTXO hygiene.
Yeah, I saw this morning. This is from Bitcoin BIM. And what he said, which I thought was really interesting, Sailor selling the ATM into strength and volume all this week, building up a war chest, and then boom, fire it all into spot over the weekend to blast us through 100K and give the middle finger to legacy Wall Street trading hours. Possible? And I love this right now because if you are into Bitcoin, you know what Sailor's doing. Whether or not you're into MicroStrategy, totally up to you. I've been kind of dipping my toe into it. I typically bought the top with Bitcoin, so might as well buy a little bit of the top with MicroStrategy, right? I didn't get early into this one either, but I love this because if you've been watching the price like I have, it's been sort of like a down week, except for maybe Monday or Tuesday when we, blasted through 360. So it would be incredible if what is suspected is really happening, that Saylor is using the MicroStrategy shares, selling or distributing new shares. He's taking all of that cash and he's going to buy spot Bitcoin this weekend when the ETFs are closed, when the markets are closed, and he's going to send this thing through the freaking moon. Imagine what happens. We blast through 100K, let's say by Sunday night. Monday morning, the phones are ringing off the hook and everybody wants to not only buy some more MicroStrategy, but go big into Bitcoin because boom, now it's done the thing that everyone's talked about, and I think the big takeaway here is we don't really know. We're guessing. I have no idea. People are kind of looking at each other, trying to figure out what's happening, but that's the fun part. Like we are kind of living this day by day as it plays out, paying attention to every tiny little move in the market, anticipating what might be coming next. That's
Yeah,
what
dude. I mean, the psychological barrier of 100K. Once we get through that, it's going to be so much easier and faster to go from 100K to a million than it was to get from $0 to 100K. And I do not believe that people quite understand that. I don't actually quite understand that. I do have a hard time like visualizing what that's going to look like and feel like, but going from 0 to 100K, that's the hardest part. All the uncertainty those first hodlers, all the way from, $0 to $1, 1 to 10,000. That was the most unsure time in Bitcoin's history. It's never been more certain, right? So the risk reward time that we're in right now, it's like, I mean, it's it almost, I don't say it's a sure thing. It almost, feels like it though. And I can't lie when I say that that's what it feels like. But I'll say, I want to talk about how these are the good old days. If you're new, you might feel like you're late to it. We felt like we were late to it when we got involved. Certainly, when we went through all the crashes and the rebounds, I think it changes you as a person. But I'll say it always happens in these different stages. So if you're feeling like you're late, you're not. Just get some skin in the game, but enjoy it, right? These are the good old days. And it reminds me of a quote. I'm actually going to read out a little bit of literature
Yeah,
from
do it.
a little highbrow, you know?
Little upper crust moment here.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
put the pinky out. Little excerpt from Zen and
Pull it back. Pull it back.
a little excerpt from Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Oh, nice.
Story time, story time. So the excerpt is: mountains should be climbed with as little effort as possible and without desire. The reality of your own nature should determine the speed. If you become restless, speed up. If you become winded, slow down. You climb the mountain in an equilibrium between restlessness and exhaustion. Then, when you're no longer thinking ahead, each footstep isn't just a means to an end, but a unique event in itself. This leaf has jagged edges. This rock looks loose. From this place, the snow is less visible, even though closer. These are things you should notice anyway. To live only for some future goal is shallow. It's the sides of the mountain which sustain life, not the top. Here's where things grow.
Ooh,
So,
I just got chills. That's
whew,
good, man. That's
so
good.
that's
That
pretty damn
resonates.
good. I read that and I right to the Stack Show folder. Listen, guys, if you're feeling like you're like having FOMO right now or whatever it is, like you missed out on, Bitcoin. No, you didn't. Okay, you fucking didn't. You're early. Enjoy the good moments, enjoy the bad moments, enjoy the doubt, enjoy the certainty, enjoy all of it, right? Because this is your life. And when you look back on it years from now, you're gonna say, holy shit, man, those were the good old days. So act like it.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I think, having 10 million sats is a huge amount. Having a million sats, that's a big amount. And the amount it takes to get there is going up all the time. But the good news is that, we're not done. Like there's still Bitcoin available. It's still
Yep.
being mined every day, and it will be for the next 10 years at a pretty good clip, 450 a day now. But we still have time to buy Bitcoin. And
Mhm.
if you are doing what you love to do, or if you've got a job where you can produce income, put as much as you can towards Bitcoin and do it slowly, a little bit at a time. I think that what you described is really kind of enjoy that process. Like we can't let Bitcoin be everything in the world, but I did realize maybe a couple years ago, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Like I'm not, there isn't going to be a point where I don't talk about it. And that is that was a moment for me, a clarifying moment.
Well, listen, we both do it professionally now too, right? You help Bitcoin companies with branding and marketing, and I'm doing with on the media relations side, communications and PR. And it takes a little bit to get to that point, right? But it does change you. I mean, it changes the way that one sees the world, I believe, for the better. And at a certain point, you're going to continually get more involved. You're going to go to local meetups. Maybe you're working a fiat job. At a certain point, you're like, you know what? Fuck this place. Maybe I start my own business and offer, my value to, Bitcoin companies. Uh, that's similar to what we did, or you find a way to work for one. or just to get involved on a larger scale. So it's a fun ride.
Yeah, well said.
All right, now we're gonna do I think one of my favorite sections, at least of the show, is the have fun staying poor section. Who are the folks out there, the doubters? What are they saying? And why do they sound so stupid? Get
How are they going to have so much fun staying poor?
your
It's going
salt
to
shakers.
they're,
No pointer tears are the best kind.
they're going to
I'm
love it.
gonna share my screen so we can just take a look at this masterpiece right here. Let's see, where is it? Where's my, here we go. Okay, finance guy. Do you see this?
Oof.
You see finance guy? First, okay. It's so funny you got finance guy and you got Guy Swan, you know? I love Guy Swan. So it's just like such an amazing exchange to me.
Yeah, he just
Finance.
he elevates finance guy, by
Yeah.
commenting on his complete ignorance.
Why do people that own Bitcoin get so angry at the people that don't own Bitcoin? It's almost as if they need to convince everyone to buy it so the price keeps going up. Hmm. Guy Swan, if your understanding of something is judged by the responses you get on social media, you're going to have a bad time. You are using the response that all people on Twitter have about issues they disagree with as your metric for whether to agree with them. Damn. Just saying. This is the best part. Listen, I totally understand Bitcoin, said no one that actually has ever understood Bitcoin. No, I don't like no one really fully understands it. Listen, I totally understand Bitcoin. It's not really that complicated. I just prefer not to put my money into it. Amazing. That's your problem, as I've tried to explain. You don't realize that your finance background has no relationship or model to help you understand Bitcoin. If it keeps not doing what you think, rather than saying everyone else is wrong, or digging in harder as a reflection of some rando on social angry tweeting at you, maybe consider there's something that you don't know and take a little time to look for it.
Oh,
We'll end it there.
you know
I
what? That's great advice, though.
It is.
And he could have ended that in a different way, but he'll be able to come back and say, "Hey, I told you to look at it curiously, right? Look at it from a blank slate. What is this thing? Why is everyone talking about it?" I mean,
Eventually he will. Eventually, the finance guy will come around. He won't have laser eyes because he'll come around after somewhere of 100K, maybe 500K. But at some point, the reputational damage of not talking about Bitcoin is going to be too great. You can't ignore it.
can't ignore it.
If you're the
And
finance guy and you're ignoring the best performing asset of, the last decade and the last 5 years, the last 2 years, then are you really the finance guy?
great question. Great question.
No.
Bitcoin's something you have to learn for yourself, and I think that I've seen a lot of plebs say, my approach to orange pilling never worked, you know, and I think I've seen other people say, stop telling them the price is going to go up. Instead, you have to drop something that causes them to ask questions,
Yeah.
the what is money? What gives money value? Who should create money? Why does money have to be devalued over time? Why do you accept it? Like all of those questions are great because they really disassociate Bitcoin from the price action. The price is great, it's fun, it's why we, maybe came or why we stay in it, but there really is so much more to discover.
You've got to have an open mind. That is the one prerequisite. You don't have to be smart. You have to be willing to put in the work, but more than anything, you have to have an open mind.
Yeah.
By the way, Bitcoin just went back over 90K.
Oh my goodness. I haven't looked at it in 20
Here we go.
minutes. Yeah, I mean, this could be just a really exciting weekend.
Dude, this last weekend was just wild. You know, we're gonna have another one.
Waking up in the middle of the night and just seeing just the
Yeah.
complete paradigm shift. You can't
This
replace it.
time last week we were going into 80K, and then we ended. I mean, by the end of the weekend it was 90, right?
Yeah,
Am I remembering that correctly? Right? Because
I don't even remember anymore. I think it was at like
yeah,
80.
77 on Friday, and then yeah, and then we kind of went in the 80s, and then anyway, that one hell of a. We're gonna see this continue on.
Yeah, it wasn't long ago when I thought we'd be in the 30s forever, and I remember spending time in the 30s. When was it? 2021, 23, telling friends like, hey, you're not going to be able to buy it, below 30 anymore. And I was laughed at because, of course, it came back down to those numbers. This time, though, this time is
This
it's
time's
different.
different.
This time is different. All right, I love this clip. This is a clip. Before we play it, you think that the guys in the suits know what's up, and then completely fall down the stairs.
Let's take a look. Oh, I got it. Okay, here we go.
Didn't go that way. We went the way where we fought it, we fought it, we fought it. Finally, we got it, and now it's mainstream. And I think as you see the price cross 100,000, you're probably going to see a scramble. Anyone that was underweighted, against it, fought it, they're going to have an answer for their clients. You're either in business to serve clients or you're not. So this
Right
is
there.
the phase we're headed into. It's exciting. It's interesting. I'm here for it. I'm making popcorn.
Even Mackenzie, if we can sit here and debate like Steve Weiss suggested, even as he buys it, still trying to figure out in his own mind, and many investors are out there thinking the same thing. The real use case is what?
The use case is this. I'm sorry to step on your toe. This is the use case. It's people putting money into it, pulling money out of it, using it to buy other coins. That's it.
I think that's being very liberal to the term use case. There is no use case. It's a trading instrument. It's where you can make money. It's where you can lose money.
To that point, I mean, post-Trump, when there's a lot of enthusiasm around the idea that banks will now be able to both custody and collateralize Bitcoin, and suddenly Bitcoin as an asset class opens up to the $200 trillion in institutional funds that exist out there, could flow into crypto, and even a fractional allocation of 1% to Bitcoin because of its finite supply could really be a huge tailwind to price.
And that's the issue. The finite supply is always going to keep the volatility there, which will prevent it from being currency.
Oh, I mean, wow. I can't remember her name. She did an awesome job. Just
Yeah,
like,
Mackenzie Sagalos. Yeah.
yeah, she threw them like a lifeline, like, hey guys, you are completely wrong. Let me save you with a little bit of wisdom. She's on point. That was correct.
Mackenzie Sagalos is the best. I mean, she is, as far as mainstream reporters go, like the one that, is covering Bitcoin from a positive sentiment. The mining industry, she's done a good job putting people in the position to have rebuttals to all the climate hysteria bullshit.
Right.
Whatever it is, like she is a voice of reason. So God bless Mackenzie Sagalos. But dude, how do we know more than these guys?
I don't know. We shouldn't.
We should.
I mean, nobody has to take me seriously. And frankly, I don't care. I mean, I know what they don't know, and that asymmetric bet is going to be on my side because I'm still stacking Bitcoin like we did today. And these guys don't see that it's really going to blow the doors off everything. I mean, it's not going away. And haven't you learned at this point that it's not going away and it's only accelerating? How can you get on television and say what those guys just said? It's unbelievable.
They are from the school of Keynesian economics,
There
and you
you
can
go.
see that's pretty much it. They have been taught a certain way, uh, and that is their lens, but their lens is about to be shattered. The interesting thing is that regardless of their, warped Keynesian lens, they're still forced to buy Bitcoin, even
Right.
though they don't understand it. So what happens when they do understand it?
Right.
What happens when that lens is shattered and they eventually understand more of the Austrian viewpoint of economics and become, because they're not even they're like, yeah, it's going 100,000 because it sucks. And because
Right.
it's nothing, like when they actually understand what it does and what it is, I mean, watch out.
Yeah, they'll be speaking at an upcoming Bitcoin conference,
Yeah.
having made a reputation of being a hater, come all the way full circle, having done the 180. And, because they have the platform, because they've built this fiat company with clients and assets under management, we will value their opinion at that point. But it's incredible to watch. It's incredible to watch happen, today.
Yeah, I love that this type of journey when they always eat crow, they come back around, then they become advocates. I mean, it always happens. So this will be fun. Now is the part of the show where we become really depressed as we look at what we missed out on because we ended up spending money on useless shit instead of Bitcoin back in the day. So let's spin the wheel.
Ugh, this part is painful for me.
Always painful. If you bought Bitcoin instead of a freaking Pebble E ink watch, which was in 2013 for 150, I don't even know what that thing is. Well,
I
it's
don't
actually
even.
kind of cool. You'd have $700,000. And I mean, that thing looks really cool, but not that cool. Not enough to spend 700K on it.
Oof. Hit it again. What else do we got? Refresh that.
Oops. Okay, here we go. Ooh,
Oh, there we go. This is way more relatable.
Starbucks. If you
January 1st. It's 2011. It's New Year's Day, and Starbucks is open. You go and you buy a grande Pike's Peak,
Macafropa bullshit.
Pike's Roast, whatever you call that.
Wow.
If you,
1.5 mil.
oh my goodness.
That's
That
expensive coffee.
Yeah, I mean the opportunity cost of going to Starbucks and not having 1.5 million is it's painful.
Crazy. So, folks, listen, Black Friday's coming up. Okay. If you're on Amazon and you're like, oh, I'm going to get this thing, don't
Snuggie.
get it. Don't get the thing. Buy Bitcoin instead, and your future self will thank you.
That's right.
Okay.
Another good thing is, we sort of mentioned this, but maybe give some Bitcoin away.
Yes.
Imagine giving away $100 of Bitcoin to somebody.
Love
Waiting for
that. You giving Bitcoin to your niece? Is that right?
Yeah. I wrote down the 12 words and then she downloaded Blue Wallet and her wallet appeared with, had $100 in it for her birthday. And that was last October. So, she's in a better spot. She held on to the Bitcoin and now, every time we see each other, we talk about Bitcoin.
That's a beautiful thing to do. I'm gonna take your advice here and I'm gonna start gifting some to my nieces, although they're 6 and 7 years old. So maybe a wait a year. Or I'll
Yeah,
do it, but
or
then get
smaller amounts.
yeah, yeah. That'll be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I think for me, talking to the noobs, let's say you're just getting into Bitcoin, it feels, because I've been there, it feels like everybody has so much capital to buy Bitcoin or they've already got so much Bitcoin. But you got to forget about that. I forgot about that too because only 0.26 of all people can own one full Bitcoin when 21 million are available. But only 2 million, maybe 2.5, whatever the number, a certain small number are available. It's even more unlikely that you'll ever meet anyone that has a full Bitcoin or more. Today I was looking at CoinGlass. There are a million addresses that have one or, more than one Bitcoin out of 8 billion people, that's a very small amount. So if you can't get to one Bitcoin, which is understandable, get to a half a Bitcoin. That's today, it's $45,000 for a half a Bitcoin. If you can't get to a half, get to a tenth, and so on. But the sooner you get to those levels and set those goals for yourself, the better that you'll be able to kind of look at your own situation and not compare yourself to others. That's the worst thing to do. Everybody gets in when they get in. It's all about building conviction and being able to buy a little bit at a time whenever your budget allows. That's my advice if you're just getting in.
Well said. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
Some wise man once said somewhere, but it's true. And I do it all the time. Man, if you see people talking about it, and it's so
Dude,
easy. It's so easy to fall into that trap of, comparing yourself to others, but you're on your own journey. So my advice is piggybacking on that in a way, but the bull market is here, and you need to be health maxing right now. So as you continue to stack and you continue to hit these goals, whether it's point one or half Bitcoin or one Bitcoin, the dopamine is going to be crazy. It's going to feel manic, and you're going to burn yourself out if you don't take care of yourself. So, get out in nature, uh, work out, touch grass, daily gratitude, pray, spend time with friends and family, enjoy life, right? Because all this means nothing, all the stacking, without enjoying it along the way and taking care of yourself. This is a long game. All right. This is not who's first to the finish line, right? See, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So take care of yourself and have fun while you're doing it.
yeah, yeah, we got to live to 2140. We got to live
Hell
to see
yeah.
that last Bitcoin fully mined. We cut out the seed oils.
Yeah, yeah. Once we cut out the seed oils, we're gonna live forever.
That's right.
We're getting back to biblical times, where you live to like 700.
Yeah, I mean that. Hey,
It was all the seed oils and the fluoride, man.
it was, dude. There was, yeah, it would have happened had we not had fluoride and freaking canola oil,
Yeah.
carbs. It's the gluten.
Nice. All right, let's close things out here. Last thing I want to talk about, man, we got Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson tonight. Who you got?
Mike Tyson is going to win.
Ooh, okay. How convicted are you?
Um, I think that he is more mean than anyone realizes. I think Mike knows how mean he is. And I think that Mike has maybe an inner darkness that he tries to hide, but he's allowing himself tonight to let it out. And if I was on the other side of the ring, which I would never do because I think like what Andrew Tate said, like let Mike Tyson be Mike Tyson. If you fought him in his prime, he would have destroyed you. You can't fight him now that he's older. It's just not right. It's not honorable. I think for those reasons, Jake Paul's got some serious competition, but I don't think he appreciates how talented Mike is. And the other piece is old man strength. Your muscles actually get tighter as you age. They get stronger. Like that, you're not going to beat that because it's a phenomenon. It's a scientific fact that his muscles are like rope. Doesn't matter how long you've been lifting. Dude is in trouble. He's in real
I
trouble.
I
What's
love
he
to
got?
hear that. I mean, if it's not fixed, Tyson wins.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole thing. I don't go there right away because yes, it could totally be fixed and we're all just along for the ride. But I
Even even if it is fixed, I think Tyson's going to win because I don't think he'll allow himself something like you said. There's something in him that's different. And even if it's fixed and he goes into that fight and he's supposed to drop in the second or whatever it is, once those punches start, once he gets in that ring and he feels that, he's reverting back to old Mike, to old Tyson. And I think he'll break whatever contract, go bankrupt before he
yeah,
lets his pride suffer, you know, that way. So I got my money on Tyson too,
yeah,
figuratively, not betting on it.
yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm not betting on it either. I did hear Mike say that he wants his kids to be proud of him. As a dad, that resonates with me. I mean, he's unless it's fixed, he's not, there's no way he's losing. And it could be scary.
Did you see that interview that he had with that child?
Yeah.
And she's got to be like no older than 13, right?
Yeah. He kind of forgot, right?
I love that though, right? Because he's like, my legacy, like I'm gonna die. What legacy? What legacy? You know, and we're all dying, we're dust, we're nothing. And very philosophical. And I love that even if he did forget, like he was speaking to a kid, I think there's no greater sign of respect for somebody than to speak to them like you would, any other person, right? I think it's disrespectful to tailor the way you speak to somebody. You put on different hats and masks to talk to someone that, hey, maybe he'll talk to you this way. He doesn't have that, right? He's got no filter. He just he says what he means, and he means what he says, regardless of who he's speaking with. And I think that that's the way more people should go about it, right? No reason to sugarcoat or to say, oh, yeah, little girl, like my legacy. Well, thanks, say it
Yeah.
like it is, regardless of who you're speaking to, and I respect the hell out of that. I'm
Yeah.
rooting
Well,
for him, man. I'm rooting for this guy. Let's go.
you're invested, emotionally invested.
I know, dude. I just don't want to see him get knocked out, man. I'd be so upset to see that.
Yeah. I mean, it could happen. I don't know. I don't think it's likely, but
Yeah. Well, listen, another podcast in the books. We're on a good roll, 2 in 2 weeks. And listen, like appreciate everybody tuning in. If you like what we're doing, please support, like, subscribe, share,
comment.
comment.
I feel like that's the big one. Yeah. Leave a
Yeah.
comment. What should we talk about? What questions do you have? That'll help us get more reach, but it'll also give us substance for the next episode.
Amen. All right. Well, happy stacking. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you on the other side of things.
All right, man. I'll see you next time.
All right. Later.